Hey, what's up, y'all? It's me, Nate Almighty, and I'm back with another Raising Kanan Season 4 Theory and Prediction video, okay? Now, the topic of today's Theory and Prediction video is the man getting out of the red car is not Breeze. He is a red herring. And the writers and producers and editors definitely wanted us to think that the person hopping out the car is Breeze, all right? I will explain logically why the person hopping out of the car is not Breeze and why they're not going to introduce him in that way like in a preview, okay? And I also will explain the other possible scenarios of who this person is based off of context clues, okay? Without further ado, this video is going to be another banger. Go ahead, like, share, comment, subscribe if you're new here. And now, let's get to it. All right, now. So when I say the man in the red car is not Breeze, and he's a red herring, and that the writers are manipulating us again, I mean that to say this. I fully believe that they want us to think it's Breeze, and it's not going to be Breeze, for the simple fact that they had us thinking that the corner ear with a little bit of a fro, right, up until episode 8, the entire time, possibly was famous. They wanted us to think that, okay? And the fact that when we found out that it was Londell, right? We found out that it was Londell who Marvin ended up killing. During the same episode that we found out who really killed Famous, come on now. It don't get no more of a red herring than that. Londell's corner pocket ear and light skin ear, they definitely wanted us to think that it was Famous. That's why Londell was somebody who had a fro that looked similar enough to Famous's fro to where we would be like, oh shit, look, that's Marvin killing Famous. And thus had a lot of people thinking, including myself for a little while, that it's very much possible that Marvin killed Famous, right? The producers and Sasha Penn and everyone, they're throwing us off on purpose, okay? They want us to think that it's Breeze, but it is not. So, in order for us to understand that it's not Breeze, right, we also have to understand why the writers will not introduce Breeze in that way, okay? We have to understand that when they introduce us to Breeze, it's not going to be a situation where they previewed him in the promo clip right after the episode before it or in the episode prior to his reveal. That's not what they're going to do, right? Breeze is such a wanted to be seen character, right? That they would love for nothing more than to fuck our heads up by either him being someone who we've already been familiar with, similar to Milan before we figured out who Milan was in OG Power, which also adds credence to the fact of Unique being Breeze, because Unique is someone who's been around, right, under a certain name, but at some point that person becomes someone else. Just like with Milan, it's going to be someone who either is going to be introduced as a minor character, right, or it's going to be somebody who we've already seen and they've already been around, okay? We got to understand that they intentionally throw us off with these promo clips and these teasers. They've been doing it. So why would they, first of all, no, I'm going to ask this question. Why would they all of a sudden give us a easy alley-oop and reveal Breeze to us as someone who's hopping out of a car and this flashy person, when everything that we knew of Breeze to a certain extent was he at some point was somebody who preferred to be in the house a little bit, right? there's still time for Unique to decide, yo, I don't want to be in the public eye like that. I see what happens after people thought I was dead, and then I made my presence known again, and I had all this police contact, right? There's still an opportunity for Unique to be like, I don't want that no more, right? I'm going to relocate, this, that, and the third. But then here's another thing, right? In the promo clip, you got somebody hopping out the car with wallabies on, right? The fact that they got wallabies on, they either may be Jamaican, right? Or maybe they from Staten Island, right? And they just doing business with them. That's just something to throw in the air. But if this person is from Queens and they're going to end up doing business with everyone, right? We got to understand that they had someone hopping out of a car, and then the next scene, they had Kanan shaking hands with somebody. These, like, whoever's hopping out that car and whoever's shaking hands with Kanan, these are not the two same people. These are not the two same people, because if that's the case, then they just would have showed the person's face or showed the person who hopped out of the car. That's a clear red herring where they're trying to confuse people. They're doing this on purpose, and they're good at it. I don't believe anything after what they did to us with Famous and Londell. I don't believe anything. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand, we don't know any extra people who Snaps and Pop are working with. And we also got to understand that Snaps and Pop will put Unique and Kanan together. So if Snaps and Pop will agree to have Kanan and Unique work together, that could easily be Unique and Kanan shaking hands. We got to understand that based off the angle of the handshake, whoever's shaking Kanan's hand in that scene is taller than Kanan, just like Unique is, right? We also have this person, that person has a gold watch on their right hand shaking Kanan's hand. We know Unique has a gold watch on his hand. It's very possible that this is Snaps officially bringing Unique and Kanan together, right? Also, one person who I want to rule out, I believe that there's probably people who are thinking that it's Shamik Moore, who Snaps and Pop are introducing Kanan to. Now, I did want to jump out the window and make a video on that, right? Just because I knew it was going to do views, right? But one thing that was obvious to me that had me rule that out is the fact that the person shaking Kanan's hand is taller than Kanan. And I think that Kanan and Shamik Moore are about the same height, with Kanan probably being a little bit taller, right? So that person cannot be Shamik Moore. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Like I said, it's a red herring. It's not Breeze. Peace.
Can't teach that shit, nigga. Come on. That's gotta get that. That's touch my ink. That's on the dome, nigga.